Hannah and Cailin for Teen Kids News. Viewers asked about extreme weather, and we went right to the best. Here to answer your questions today is Weatherman extraordinaire Roker. What made you want to become a weatherman?
Well, I didn't want to become a weatherman, actually. I majored in communications in college. Back then it was called radio and TV, and I took a couple of meteorology courses just to fulfill the science requirement. And my department chairman, who worked at a local station in Syracuse, I went to school in upstate New York, a state school called Oswego, SUNY Oswego. In fact, he told me after my first television performance class that I had the perfect face for radio. He put me up for a job doing weekend weather at the station he worked at the end of my sophomore year, and I happened to have some knowledge about weather, and so I got the job. But I thought, oh well, I'll do this until a real job comes along. But I kept getting jobs doing this. So.
I think it's a real job.
Yeah, it is. Sure, yeah, it is.
You've followed dozens of tragic storms over the years. What has been the most devastating you've witnessed?
Well, they're all different in their scope, and some are worse than others. The Joplin, Missouri tornado was pretty devastating. We were early on. We got to Haiti after the earthquake before the Army did, and that was devastating to see. It still haunts me. We've covered different hurricanes. Hurricane Katrina, obviously Sandy, the most recent, and you watch the devastation. And on the one hand, you're excited about it in that it's a meteorological phenomenon, but it's also people's lives and their livelihoods and their homes and their businesses and their schools are wiped out pretty quickly. And so to me, it may be one may be worse than the other, but to the person who's lost their home or lost a loved one, that storm is the worst storm that's ever hit them.
That's very true. And you've been put in a lot of situations that are considered dangerous that you've had to go for coverage. Is there any time where you actually feared for your life?
No, I really haven't. We've been pretty we're pretty safe, believe it or not. I intend to pass away in my sleep at a very ripe old age, so I don't put myself in harm's way. Closest we came was maybe during Hurricane Sandy. We were on the beach at Point Pleasant, and we were at a sand dune, and we finally realized, we probably should. I was broadcasting from the dune itself, and we got off the dune, and we were on a second floor of a hotel, and the dune gave way, and we just watched this water rushing in, and uh-oh, we better get out of here. And we did, and it was no problem. But, that was maybe the closest.
Wow. Scary. You've worked on a series with the Today Show called Lend a Hand, where you actually had to go back and see cities that had been destroyed.
It was actually, Lend a Hand Today came about after the tragedy of 9/11, because there were a lot of smaller charities that we found out were suffering because so much money was going to 9/11 related charities, and you could understand why. But we thought, it would be great if we could help jumpstart these smaller charities by getting people to donate to them. And so we did 5 cities and 5 charities in 5 days to highlight smaller charities that don't get the publicity that the bigger ones do. And we did it for 10 years. It was every year we started out by giving out, I think, $25,000. And 2 years ago, we gave out $10 million worth of merchandise in 5 cities. So it was a really good feeling.
That's amazing. What advice would you give to young people who are hoping to become a weatherman one day?
Well, I think you should. I don't think you should focus on any one thing. I mean, yes, it's good to specialize in something, but it shouldn't be at the detriment of everything else. I think you should be curious about all things, whether it's. If you want to focus on meteorology, that's terrific. But you should read as much as possible about as many different things as possible, so that you never know when you may be called on to, especially if you're a broadcaster, whether it's radio or TV or the internet or whatever comes down the pike, that you can talk intelligently about a lot of different things. And I think it helps to have a really innate sense of curiosity about everything.
Thank you very much for the interview.
You're welcome.
Thanks for answering your questions.
All right. Well, thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet both of you.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Al Roker, and you're watching Teen Kids News. They're teens, kids, it's news.